Life is hard. Life is a real challenge. And the challenges of life never seem to end. You resolve one problem, and just like a game of whack-a-mole, another one pops up. The older and older I get, I see this as just a cycle. Just a fact of life. And life is hard irrespective of what life you live. Whether you're the luckiest, most successful person in the world, you will have a large number of problems. Whether you're the most unfortunate person in the world, you will have a large number of problems. And people may say that it is not equal. At the same time, look at how the human evolution story has gone so far. We've gone from being cavemen, where life was truly hard, to the times that we're in now, where we have things like social isolation and misery. But, with that being said, you do pick your challenge. And this is especially true in the modern world. Because in today's world, most people are doing a life that they don't enjoy. They're living on a path, facing challenges that they don't want to face. And it's because they've not acknowledged that you can pick your own challenge. People might say, well, how do I do that? My life is set up in this way. People will think this and that. Well, first we need to acknowledge what life being hard actually looks like. As I alluded to just a second ago, I really do believe and sympathise with all humans. Obviously, the degree of people's suffering is not equal. A king who feels unfulfilled because he's living in his father's footsteps does not have the same misery as a child starving. At the same time, both of these people will have their respective problems, right? And that's just a fact of life. Take it away from the philosophical point and acknowledge what this looks like in your life. You are probably on a path, or at least I hope you're on some sort of a path. And your path may be great, but it may not. The amount of people who I've known over the years who were on a path that they simply didn't like, simply didn't agree with, simply didn't try to change. I'm going to get this job, but, it terrifies me every day. Or I've got this job and it's making me old. I get paid well, but so what? I've got no time to spend it. All these different things about different issues. And then I say, well, why don't you change this? Why don't you have a think about making a difference? And people say, well, how do you go about doing that? Well, that's where the hardness of life comes in. If you're in the position, and I'll just give this as one example, where you don't like your situation. You may not like your job, you may not like your town, you may not be happy with where you are. That is in itself a challenge. You may get good money, you may live in a stable city that's nice, but it doesn't excite you. And you feel like you're out for more than that. Well, you are being challenged. There's a level of hardness that comes with living a life that you don't like. Then people say, well, the alternative is impossible. No, the alternative is hard. It's extremely hard. But you're already telling me and yourself that your current life is hard, which, by the sounds of it, respective to you, it is. So, you have a choice now of which hard you pick. When I told everybody, and this is a true story, I've mentioned it before on the channel, but I'll tell you it again briefly. When I told everybody that I was going to actually be making some money on YouTube when I was about 13 years old, a lot of people in my immediate circle, not all to be fair, some people really supported me, laughed at the situation. You're going to make some money? No, you're not. You know how hard that was, right? In a way. Yes, of course it's not equal to some people's suffering, but hear me out on this point. Most of you guys live in countries like the UK, the US, right? So we have relatively simple challenges anyway. So irrespective of the broader picture, and focusing on our subjective picture, the judgment that you face, the rejection, and this is just one example. That was a hard moment. When I first showed myself on YouTube, that was a hard moment. When I uploaded 500 videos and got basically no views for most, that was a hard moment. I'm not saying it was impossible, but think about this, right? Everybody in the comment section, everybody who watches a video even like this one, has the right and ability to judge me. You can judge anything about me. I know a lot of you guys already have, because I've read some of the good comments and I appreciate all of them, but there are some bad ones. Some of you guys judge all sorts of stuff. You put yourself into a difficult position, a position that you don't need to be in. Maybe it's quitting a job. Maybe it's moving somewhere, traveling, going on holiday. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but the reason why I think so many people are comfortable picking the hard that's chosen for them is because they are looking at it with a very short-term view. In the short term, the objective hard, and I'm going to call the objective hard the one that's chosen for you, i.e. the matrix path or whatever you want to call it, that's the objective hard. And the subjective path is what you want. The objective path is easy because in the short term, in fact, no, even in the long term, the world is set up for this path. Think about it. Jobs, 9-to-5s, school systems, the fact you can only use student loans to pay off student debt rather than use it to build a business or invest. It's easier to follow the objective hard. But what I've seen from people who I've known is the older they get, the more deep into a ideology that they dislike they get, the more difficult the objective hard becomes. Because whilst this is a perfect path for some people, to be fair, probably most, there are a lot of people who will not like the objective hard. And think about this. This is probably why midlife crisis hits in so many people. Because the objective hard when they were my age, 21, 22, 25, was easy. You've got energy, so you can do all this work, get a good job, study, good grades, and all the rest of it. This is the easy path to follow. But in reality, the older they get and the deeper into the system they get, the deeper into a path that they didn't like they get, the more they feel dissatisfied with where they are. And ironically, it's at the front of your life, the earlier years, like where I am, and a lot of you guys will be, that the subjective hard is relatively the easiest it will probably ever be until retirement age. Like, for example, you are still going to face a lot of judgment. And I feel like this judgment at a young age, my age and around this age, is actually more meaningful than judgment at an older age. Because come to 30, 40, 50, you've got enough life experience to say, okay, well, I don't care what you think. Or I've done this, so I can go back to doing that. At my age, you don't have a lot of that, to be honest. So, the judgment means a lot. And when you get such judgment, it's easy to be dissuaded. But the truth is, this is the age where it's easiest if you have a think about it. You don't have any real dependence. You don't have any real outgoings in terms of major costs, likely. You really can up and leave. You can bankrupt yourself, and I wouldn't recommend it, obviously, but you'll probably be fine. Nothing matters. You've not got kids. You've not got a mortgage. You've not got car payments. The subjective hard is easier when you are young. But as you get older, I feel like the objective hard becomes harder to follow, and the subjective hard becomes harder to chase. So you're in this awkward path, and I feel like this is why a lot of people lead to this midlife crisis point, because they realise, damn, this is just not what I wanted to be doing for all of my years, and it's been what I've been doing. In life, you choose your challenge. And not enough people even acknowledge this. You choose your challenge. The reason why most people don't acknowledge this, I feel, is because to even go about choosing your challenge, by nature of just doing so, you need to deviate from the path. To choose your challenge, you can say, hey, Mom, I'm not going to go to university. Hey, Dad, I'm not going to get a mortgage. I'm going to do this. I want to move to Thailand. I don't want a job as a doctor. I want a job as a, so on and so forth. You're on a predestined path, which makes the objective hard easier to follow in a way. but you pick your challenge. Your challenge might be dealing with the rejection, might be dealing with judgment, might be dealing with haters, might be dealing with business challenges and learning a completely new system and structure, might be learning a new language. People say it's hard. Do you really think life is easy anyway? Do you really think so? Because I don't. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But the experiences that I've seen up to this point have not led me to believe that life is explicitly easy. I'm not saying it's massively hard, but you do have a challenge. And this is where we get to the crux of the issue. Do you want to be on a path that you have decided upon, that you intend upon, or is it a path that's set out for you? A path that you're told to follow just because you do. Obviously, and I want to make this very clear, the typical path, nothing wrong with it at all. A lot of people work a traditional job. They're very, very happy with it. They've bought a house, whatever, all that sort of good stuff. Great. Some people seem to think that I don't like that. I don't care. This is what you guys need to understand, right? I do not want to they call it, being an influencer. I don't want to influence you guys. No offense. I don't mean it in a rude way, but if I can open your mind up to a few topics, great, but I don't want you to take my word as advice unless it's talking about a specific subject which I call advice, because it might be something that I know a lot about and I feel confident enough to call it that. I don't want to give you guys objective advice on a subjective topic. So I don't care if you want to work a 9 to 5. Great. At the same time, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's hitting the gym for the first time. If it's hitting the gym for the first time, the objective hard is being unhealthy. The subjective hard is going to the gym, picking up the weights, feeling the pain. You've got to get out of bed. You've got to go to the gym when you finish work at 5 p.m. It's hard. You've got to find some healthy food. These are the subjective hards. But you pick. You can be Mr. Unhealthy or Mrs. Unhealthy. Or you can just take the subjective hards. Yes, it is not necessarily that easy to break the cycle, but this is really what I think it boils down to. So I want to just really leave it there. I just wanted to share my opinions on this subject. You pick your hard in life and, it's up to you what you do. Thank you guys, and I hope I'll see you soon.